The Hazers, one of the lighter teams in the league. Let's see what they have done in their history. The Hazers have started out in 2018 with their roster consisted of hazy, misty, smoggy, foggy, and cloudy. They would start off slow in the 2018 qualifiers with a 7th place finish in curling, but a solid performance by Smoggy in the snow race and 2 great performances in the ice dash by Hazy and the team coming together in halfpipe. The Hazers would qualify for the 2018 Winter League. They would get off to a hot start with back-to-back silvers in the 5-meter ice dash and ski jump, set by Hazy and Smoggy respectively, and they would even have a gold in speed skating set by Misty. Whenever they didn't finish in the top 2, they would have finishes of 14th, all of them being team events. The second half, however, wouldn't go as well for them, with their best finish being a 6th in curling, and the team would finish in 6th overall for their rookie season, which is still pretty solid. As for how things would go in 2019, the Hazers would do well in qualifiers. Despite a rough showing in block pushing, we'll get to that later, they would win qualifiers thanks to stellar performances in relay race and underwater race. Coached by Smokey they are. In terms of the league, they would have a strong year, obtaining 7 medals, 2 of them being gold, 1 of them being the record for balancing. The team just had a phenomenal showing, and they would even all qualify for 2020 before the final event. There were some side effects, of course, like a 15th place in gravity track slalom, their soon-to-be traditional dud in block pushing, and Smoggy ending the season on a 13th place in sand rally. Still, they would have a great season and would finish 3rd overall, with 184 points and 7 medals. Then would come Marbula One, in which the Hazers would send in Smoggy and Hazy. As for how the season would go for the Hazers, it would be a great one. The first half consisted of nothing but top half finishes, and 3 of them being medals. Both Hazy and Smoggy showing their skill sets. Though they did take a bit of a slip with an 11th place finish in Greenstone and an 8th place finish in Short Circuit, Smoggy would perfectly execute in Razway, taking gold, and the Hazers would have the lead going into the final race. A solid finish could solidify them as Marbula One champions. But unfortunately, qualifiers did not go Hazy's way. They would qualify 15th. And it doesn't help that Speedy, their closest competitor, qualified in 1st. In terms of how the race would go, Hazy did what they could to climb up the order, but they could only do so much climbing as Hazy would finish in 8th. And because Speedy of the Savage Spears would finish in 1st, the Hazers would drop to 2nd and lose out on the Marbula One championship. Still a great season to look at, which featured both racers in the top 10 and Smoggy finishing in 3rd. Just an unfortunate end to the season. Then would come the 2020 Marble League, in which the Hazers would get off to a rather mediocre start. Their first 6 events consisting of finishes between 7th and 10th. Then came a 16th place finish in you-know-what event. But they would at least show some fights in the next event, which included an amazing comeback by Foggy in the triathlon for gold. And the very next event, Sam Moguls, Hazy would manage to pick up a silver. The rest of the year would be a bit inconsistent for the Hazers, but they would at least pick up a bronze in Team Aquaflin. The Hazers that year would finish in 6th. As for Marbula One Season 2, Hazy and Smoggy would be running it back, though they would get off to a rather slow start. Smoggy, who qualified for pole position in the first race, would still manage to finish 12th. Their next 3 races weren't any better, which consisted of Hazy DNQing at Raceway, a 13th place finish at Huntingdon by Smoggy, and a 12th place finish by Hazy at Aquamarine. They would manage to pick things up, however, with Hazy taking gold at Tumor Turnpike, a solid 4th by Smoggy at Arctic Circuit, Smoggy finishing qualifiers in last at Race Force. Wait, what? A solid showing by Hazy at Momota Way, and the bronze by Smoggy at Pallet Park. Things were looking a bit bleak with Hazy qualifying in 16th at Misty Mountain, their home track, but that would not bother them, as throughout the race they would climb up the order and make decent progress. Then was the Great Red Flag on lap 13, and from that point forward, Hazy would take advantage.
The top 3 are lockstep between them. This is anybody's race. Mallard up into 2nd place, and then the Hazers kicking into a 2nd gear down the backstretch. Just 2 turns to go. Everybody goes to the inside. It'll be a draft down the front stretch. Hazy wins it.
From last to 1st, an incredible achievement by Hazy. And after a solid performance by Smoggy at Savage Speedway, the Hazers would be in 2nd. Though they're way out of reach for the team championship, they could at least finish on the podium. They just have to do decent at Midnight Bay and all is well. But just like season 1, Midnight Bay would get the best of Hazy. Only difference is they wouldn't climb up the order this time. They finished in 14th. And due to rapidly finishing in 1st and Mallard finishing in a solid 6th, the Hazers would drop from 2nd to 4th and would miss out on the podium. Another great season with a rather sour end. Then would come the 2021 qualifiers, into which the Hazers would not have too much trouble and would qualify rather convincingly. As for how they would do in the league, it would be rather inconsistent, not just for the Hazers but for most teams. They would have their flashes with a silver in balancing and a gold in jousting, but they will also have moments with a 15th in funnel endurance, a guaranteed 16th in, and another 16th in steeplechase. They would also show more bright spots with Foggy taking bronze in triathlon, Misty coming up clutch in an elimination race with a gold, and the team as a whole coming together with a bronze in football, which would bring them up to 2nd before the final event, into which Coach Smokey would send in their captain. So they're sending in Hazy in a clutch situation, and to make things worse, it's in reverse starting order, so they have to do a lot, into which they tried but couldn't do. Hazy would be around the bottom of the standings for the entire race, and as a bonus, they would get overtaken by Rizzy on the last moments of the last lap. Despite them having won the most medals out of any team that year and having Misty win MVM, like Marbula One Season 2, the Hazers would drop from 2nd to 4th and would miss out on the podium. Another rough end for the team. Smoggy and Hazy would try to run it back in Marbula One Season 3. The end of the 2021 league would end up getting to them. Despite Smoggy having a breakaway win in the pinball machine known as Sleet Street, most of their season would be rather disappointing, consisting of finishes that were either mediocre or just bad, outside of a 4th place finish at Stardust Accelerator. Smoggy would finish 10th in the individual standings, which was heavily carried by that gold. And Hazy? Oh dear Hazy. They couldn't get anything going in Season 3. They had only one finish in the top half, 10th at Honeydome. What was their other finishes? 16th at Tumult Turnpike, 15th at Misty Mountain despite starting in 3rd, another 15th place showing at Motorway, another 15th place at Electron Expressway, and to cap it all off, a 17th place finish at Mirage Mountain to end the season. From top 10 in Season 2 to 39th in Season 3. As a duo, Hazy and Smoggy would finish 17th overall. From one of the top teams in Marbula One to getting outperformed by the likes of the Chocolatiers and Turtle Sliders. Prior to 2022 qualifiers, a few changes were made. After their latest Marbula One struggles, Hazy has decided to step down and take a sabbatical. In comes new captain Misty and a new reserve Murky, with Cloudy becoming a full-time member. And as for the 2022 qualifiers, the team will show that they dearly miss Hazy. Aside from a decent showing in climbing, the team would have 2 mediocre performances in hurdling and triathlon and a disastrous finish in balancing. The team's first year without Hazy results in them going to the showdown for the first time. If only they had auto-qualified from 2021. The showdown of that year would be a rather rocky start with their 2-pointed swing wave. Good thing it's highest overall so the Hazers can bounce back and finish 4th for that event. Though they would have a bit of a struggle with bottom half placements in the 5-meter sprint and water race. The team would bounce back with a decent showing in relay and would sit in 7th after the first half of the showdown. And as for the second half, oh dear gravy.
Limers, Hazers, Turtle Sliders, and the Wolfpack now. It looks like the Hazers would be the first to impact. Oh, but they lost their own momentum completely.
What more can be said? Seriously, what more? They would fortunately bounce back with Cloudy taking bronze in final endurance, but at the same time, Cloudy was in first for a majority of the final heat. Surely that doesn't come back to bite the team. Followed up by that would be an 11th place finish in climbing, and then Sand Rally, where they sent in their new captain, Misty. Despite doing well for a good portion of the race, the Hazers' ways would bite them as Misty collides into Mode 4 at some point and would drop all the way to 12th, which is where they would finish. And the Hazers would miss out on qualifiers to the Jungle Jumpers. The same jungle jumpers who hadn't earned a medal all showdown. The same jungle jumpers who put up this performance in qualifiers. The Hazers lost out to that team. With Hazy on sabbatical and Smoggy being Smoggy, Coach Smokey felt like it was time to clean house. In comes Cloudy and Misty for Season 4. Cloudy in their very first race, gold off the bat. Misty's start would be rather mediocre, finishing 12th in a raceway, but they would bounce back with a bronze in Sakura Garden. And for Cloudy, they would keep their momentum up, securing another medal at Greenstone and would even win on Sleet Street. Yeah, that track. Misty's results would be a bit up and down, but they would still be decent. And after a pretty good showing at Misty Mountain by Cloudy, they would be leading the individual standings by a fair amount. After a middle of the pack finish by Misty at Electron Expressway, Cloudy would have a 64.7% chance at winning the individual championship, while the Hazers as a duo will have a 60.7% chance at winning and a 99.1% chance at finishing on the podium. All Cloudy has to do is keep up their momentum at Stardust Accelerator and they'll be good. But we know how this goes. Once the Hazers have a chance at finishing on top, they end up stumbling as Cloudy gets overtaken by Ecto and Billy, causing them to finish 15th. And because of Momo making a crucial overtake themselves, Cloudy will end up losing the lead, making them no longer eligible to win the individual title. Because of their 15th and other factors such as a primary victory, the Hazers will find themselves in a three-way tie with Team Primary and the Savage Speeders. Things will look a bit up for the team as Reba qualified second to last and Speedy is on the bubble. Misty just has to keep it cool and they don't. They instead will qualify 17th and would make no progress during the race. Unlike Rima, who showed effort despite starting behind Misty. The new captain would finish 17th and the Hazers will lose out on the team championship. A heartbreaker indeed. In fact, this would be a 2-for-1 special. The Hazers had a 14-point lead over the Rangers and Clementon would score 15. And like time and time again, the Hazers would miss out on the podium. A 99.1% chance and they took a dagger to the heart. Truly unbelievable. After the struggles that was the 2022 showdown, the Hazers will have to prepare for the 2023 showdown, in which they would have a very rough time. Mostly due to their efforts in the 5-meter relay taking 16th and their 15th place finish in Legion March Wave, the Hazers will find themselves in last with 2 showdown events to go. Just when it was looking like the Hazers are in trouble, their captain Misty would save the day and redeem themselves from the 2022 Sand Rally. That would most definitely be enough to prevent the Hazers from finishing in the bottom 4. Even with Murky having a rough 10th after starting in 1st. And speaking of Murky, they will go on to compete in Marvel Survival 100. After a first solid week, the rest of their weeks would be rather mediocre to below average and they would eventually find themselves getting eliminated after week 4, finishing in 25th. As for Marbula One Season 5, Cloudy and Misty were running back, though their start to the season would be rather middle of the field. They wouldn't have any bad races, but they wouldn't have any great ones either. Their best would be a 5th at a raceway by Cloudy. Then they would turn things around with the bronze at Sakura Garden. It would get better for the Hazers as Misty would find themselves around the top of Limelight Harbor with a chance to win. But the powers of Clementon and Cerulean said otherwise. Despite this, the team would be unfazed and Cloudy would find themselves getting yet another bronze, this time at Aquamarine. And just as things were looking up, Misty lets a dud go at P-Mine Tunnel, finishing in 19th. Despite Cloudy obtaining their 3rd bronze of the season, the Hazers would find themselves in 4th entering the final race, Midnight Bay. Of course, the Hazers are familiar with. And it would all come down to their new captain, Misty, who actually not only qualified well, but would find themselves doing great in the race at some point. And with how things are going, they might just even get their first Marbula One gold.
Caution through this sector. Oh, it's gotten worse, yes. That opening curve has now moved farther out and we've got a red flag.
Ain't no way. A chance for Misty to solidify themselves, and that happens. Fortunately for them, Misty would still come up clutch. Despite them finishing in 8th, they would be fortunate enough to see the Ducks struggle in the final moments. And because of that, the Hazers would find themselves finishing on the overall podium. Cloudy with another great season finishing 4th, and Misty with a respectable 16th. The 2024 qualifiers will come up, and the Hazers would have no trouble qualifying, though they would have a moment in half-pipe where they would collide into one of the referees. As for how they would do in the Winter League, it would be rough, as Smoggy, who won Ice Dash in qualifiers, would finish 10th in the Winter League. As for Halfpipe, they couldn't help themselves and for the second time would collide into a referee. It didn't help as they would finish 9th for that event. Wait, scratch that. It turns out that the Hazers and Solar Flare's scores got mixed up and instead the Hazers would finish in last. As for the next team event, Bobsled, they would finish 14th. And with how things were going for the Hazers, they would be sitting around the bottom of the standings for the entire tournament. Bad performance after bad performance, which included another 16th in ice hockey. And after a disappointing 12th in curling, it would be confirmed that Misty would finish in last in terms of best captain. And after disappointing efforts in ski jump by Smoggy and in mountain climbing by Smoggy and Foggy, the Hazers will find themselves in last with 49 points. If there's anything they want to do, it's not to break the Baltic Chaos anti-record. And if they would do that, as Claudia shows off their speed in snow tubing, and Foggy would show off their newfound strength in Snow Snake. Back-to-back golds, and the Hazers now have a shot at a respectable finish. Although their last 3 events weren't anything special, they did end the year on a decent showing by Misty and Ice Maze, finishing 5th, and the Hazers would finish 11th overall, which would be odd at first when you see the fact that Smokey finished 2nd in Best Coach Awards. Then you would remember how they did in team events. Then comes Marble League All-Stars, a 60-team invitational that would include the Hazers. Though this wouldn't be their first time competing in an invitational that's not Marbula One, as they competed in the Marble League Winter Special, which they did pretty solid in, obtaining 2 medals and finishing 3rd overall. As for All-Stars, that would not go as well for them. Although they would obtain a bronze in short track by Murky and another bronze in final endurance set by Misty, it didn't help that they would obtain finishes of 15th in bobsled, last in mountain climbing, and 14th in dual halfpipe. The Hazers overall would finish in 13th. After the conclusion of the Marble League All-Stars, it would be announced that your coach Smokey is resigning from the team. And oh look, Hazy's back! With them as your new coach, you might just find your glory again. And as for your old coach Smokey, they're only going to the Cobalts, you'll be fine. It's the Cobalts and they have never qualified. Have fun in Zero, Smokey. As for Marble Survival Season 2, new coach Hazy would send in Misty, and they would do pretty good, not letting the pressure get to them, except for that one time where they could have folded early, but snowy happened. Regardless, Misty was putting on pretty good efforts left and right, but their run would come to an end after round 23, where they would finish in 10th. They would get things off right in the 2025 qualifiers with a bronze in relay, a much needed start for Hazy's return. And the next event, let's just get this over with.
That's a lot of gap for some teams to fit in with a chance of advancement.
Okay, just pick things up in Swing Wave, another event the Hazers aren't that good in, and they do bad in Swing Wave. Misty did all that they could in Sand Rally with a solid showing, but it wasn't enough as the Hazers would miss out by 3 points. If only there wasn't block pushing in qualifiers. In the showdown, the Hazers would do pretty well, securing 4 bronze medals, the most medals out of any team in the showdown, showing great signs of consistency and have regained their steps. Yet they could only finish in 5th, with Misty having yet another 11th place finish in their career in Core Maze, and oh come on, haven't the Hazers been through enough?
Shout out to Joe Sample, our sponsor for the Thunderbolts.
Apparently not. Oh, and Hazers, remember your old coach Smokey? They not only helped the Cobalts qualify for the first time ever, they led them to a championship. In their first year, 7 medals, 184 points. Does that ring a bell? And unlike the Hazers, the Cobalts actually did well in team events, which led to Royal winning Best Captain. Talk about bittersweet. And that is where I'll have to wrap it up. The Hazers are a great team, but when it comes to closing out, they have had issues. Marbula One Season 1, Marbula One Season 2, Marble League 2021, Marble League 2022 Showdown Even, and Marbula One Season 4, all ending in heartbreak. Always the bridesmaid, but never the bride. Next time, we'll see them in Marbula One Season 6, where they are bringing back Smoggy. Coach Hazy must have been impressed with how they did in Le Marb and Indy 500. We'll just have to see for these mysterious marbles. But until then, peace.